I need to replace the screen on this iPhone 6 here. Now this has actually been dropped, it's got some damage around here and stuff like that, and the actual tabs which hold it on are completely broken off, they're gone. I've already had this thing apart and had a little bit of a look at that. And anyway, I need to get this thing off completely and swap it out. So I've got a new screen here, brand new. This is a high quality one, so it should be pretty easy to swap over. It's a pretty standard process anyway. This also comes with a little bumper protector thing and a screen protector. That's what comes with the screen when you buy it, so that's good, could help protect the phone for next time. So I thought I'd change views and see if that helps a little bit. First thing you always have to do with these is disconnect the battery. Now what I actually do is I have this thing to hold the screen up out of the way, so I can work on it with two hands. It just makes things a little bit easier. Now the thing with these is you have to make sure you lay everything out so you don't get the screws mixed up, because these screws are all different lengths. If you put the wrong screw in the wrong place, you'll end up damaging the logic board. So it's one of these things you have to be really careful of. Right, so that's those. Now I've got to pop off the battery clip. Let's do it this way, carefully. Here we go. So that's the battery disconnected. Okay, now we're safe to pull the rest of it apart without risk of shorting something out. So we've got this top shield here. This also has lots of different screws, different lengths, so you have to make sure that you don't get these wrong either. So again, I'm not going to lay all these out in a way which means I know how they come apart. And obviously then you have to make sure you don't nudge them or accidentally mix them up, because that's always a bit inconvenient. Get your screws here out, lay those out. This should then pop off. Okay, so that's the screen assembly cable there. Now you've got to pop all these flexes here off. So hopefully it'll cooperate. Try and get one end out. There we go. Next one, and then the next one. Normally I'd recommend not using something sharp, but I'm being really careful because I know there's components all the way along these edges here, right? So along these edges of these connectors, there's a whole bunch of components on the circuit board just along the edge. So if you're not careful, you can actually rip components off the board. And that's a common mistake that people will actually make when they're changing a screen, is they're not careful around there, and they rip the components off. So there we go. Right, 4 flexes on there. So now we can put this to one side, and we need to work on this bit. So we have to strip all this out and transfer it onto the new screen. So you do a comparison here side by side. So we've got to strip off this back panel here, this plate, the home button and that bracket, that's all to come off. You have to transfer all the camera assembly over, and obviously the light sensor and the microphone earpiece units, they're all up here. They've all come off. That's why there's so many flexes. So we've got this one here has already got, say, 2 flexes on it. So 2 of these other flexes are from the other parts on this phone. The other thing you've got to do is make sure you get them in the same sequence. Okay, so we've got here obviously 4 flexes. So we've got the one which goes furthest is the back one, right? The middle one. And then we have the side one, and then the other one. Right, so they're in that sequence there. Okay, quite important to try and get those right, otherwise it won't quite fit in there correctly again. So if you look at this one here, you have 2 flexes on it, and the 2 which are here. So we're going to be adding this one and this one off this other phone. Right, so this one here has got to go in between the other layers. So that's something you've got to make sure you get right, otherwise it won't fit right. And your problems with the flexes not sitting correctly in the actual phone, we try and put it together. So let's strip off this back panel first. Let's get this one off here. Try and get out of shot. Alright, so that's screw there. The back panel screws aren't as critical as they are in the actual motherboard assembly. A lot of these screws I think are probably exactly the same anyway. I'm pretty sure they're pretty much the same. So all these little side screws are the same size, you don't have to worry about these ones. These ones are some of the easier screws to deal with. So then you've got this one down here as well. There's a few screws down here, but one of these is on that panel there. Now these ones I am going to organise. I think those are the same size, and that's different. Okay, so the very top one's different to the side ones. So I'm just putting these all to one side like this. Then we've got the next one up. So on top of the home button. You've got one, oops, on the side of the home button. this one here. Sorry, I'm out of shot again. Where's that shot? Then that one there. Okay, you can see I'm laying the screws out. So they pretty much match this. Okay, so it should be, I take the bracket off the home button, like that. So the home button can probably come out now, but I'm not going to take it out yet. Okay, so let's take this panel off. It should just lift out. Now there might be an issue with flexes. Yes, there's a flex on the panel. Okay, so you've got to be careful of that. We'll pull this apart down here, and then we'll look at that part of it. So you've got this, again, be really careful. I'm using really sharp tweezers here, which makes me a little bit nervous, but they get into these areas and allow you to unhook things a bit more easily. I will pull this home button out now, and I will transfer that over just to get out of the way. Sometimes I just pop straight out like this, other times I take a bit more effort. Sometimes you can actually get a adhesive panel which will go back in there, so you can actually re-stick it back in. Anyway, I don't have any of those. Maybe one day I'll actually get some. So we've got some little posts which this circuit board sits over. Okay, so it's a little post just there, a little white post, there's one there, one there. So you have to make sure you put the board over those so it lines it all. Then I'm just going to gently push down this home button, make sure it's actually seated in properly. So let's get this one apart. Actually, what I'm thinking about is peel this panel off. Peel this panel here off. We don't need that one anymore, that can go. And let's strip this one apart. Now, say there's a flex which runs down here. So we need to get that out. Get this tweezer underneath it, because it's nice and sharp, it should be able to go under and lift it up. Hopefully without piercing it. Okay, can you see what I'm doing? So there it is there. I'm just trying to get underneath it like this to lift it up. There we go. Has the adhesive up. So this should now lift up at this end as well. Here we go. This end has got these layers which I need to make sure I untangle. Okay, so we've got the flex in here, just there, which is the second one up. Okay, so it's a second layer upwards. So I can put this on and that'll be right. Okay, get this one done. So I lay it over the top of that and underneath this one. So it's kind of weird the way it goes. Right, so it's under and over at the same time. Like that. So that's those two. Now I can actually reassemble this part. So I've got to lift the button here, home button flex, got to lift this up, get out of the way. So I can then pop down the other flex here, like that. So let's put the home button back down, let's plug that in. Now let's put the screws in this, put this back together. I'm sure there's people out there who can do this way faster than me. I mean, I don't do that many iPhone things, you know. I do obviously do them, but I don't do a lot of them. So that makes me a little bit slower, because I'm not used to it. I have to actually think about what I'm doing instead of just being second nature, like it is to a lot of people who do this kind of work, because I just do so many of them. The other thing I'll do is get this camera assembly on as well. So I actually need to think about that, because the camera actually goes underneath one of the tabs. So it goes underneath this tab up here. It's got to go underneath there. So I need to actually leave this a little bit loose. So I'm not going to put these M ones in. I think I might leave those two out for the time being, because I need to get this camera assembly transferred over as well now. So I've already got some of the screws out of that, so I shall take the last couple of screws out. So it's camera, earpiece, light sensor and microphone is what's all on this section. So there's a cover, and we can lift this flex here off. Be careful with it, don't damage anything. There is the earpiece part, and the microphone is in here as well. Got to lift this up carefully so as not to damage anything. It is glued down, so we'll sort of prise it up, get the tweezers underneath it and get that glue off. There we go. Right, so that's that assembly there. Now because this has already got some bits in it, I don't need to transfer anything else over. Okay, so it's got the plastic bezel around this piece already. This one's already got one in it, stuck down. So what I'm going to do is going to take this bezel here off. You can see that little plastic piece there. It's stuck to it. Alright, so I'm going to take this one back off. Alright, so that's that screen there stripped. Don't do anything else with that now, that's done. Let's put that to one side. We've got this sticky tab here, so you have to lift this off to expose the adhesive. Alright, that's adhesive exposed. And over here you have to fit in the light sensor, or sorry, front camera, light sensor, microphone, which is all on this assembly here. So it all got to go this way up. And then underneath this flex here we've got these connections which go onto the earpiece assembly, so we'll kind of put that in afterwards. So we get these bits in first, clear the microphone, and it's got like a little post here which the microphone goes over, it's a little white post. So we'll do that bit first, and this does go over the back of everything else. Okay, so this goes under here. There's the post. Push the microphone down and that flex just gently, because obviously this is a sharp tweezer, don't want to push too hard. Alright, now I can do the other sensors here. So we've got the light sensor on there. Alright, pop the camera in. Well, it will go in anyway. So let's pop it back out again for now. These have to be pushed in. And then we need the earpiece assembly, which has to line up the little bezel in there. That's the spring contacts in there, so this has got to go over the top of that and line up and push into the rubber boot that's on there. Okay. And then the camera will pop into that housing there like that. Now hopefully I've got the earpiece lined up with the rubber boot. Sometimes it can be a bit funny getting it back in. Okay, so then we've got this flex has got some little post that goes over as well. And once you've got that lined up, you can put the little cover back on. Put your hands in the way of again, like that. Now this has to go underneath this plate here, right? So get them in the right order. So I've got to get it under there, like that. Okay, and make sure the posts go through, because it's got holes in here for the posts as well. So it should all lock together and line up, if it all goes well. Get the first one in and we'll check the alignments. Make sure it's all looking okay. See what I'm doing there? Coming in that hole there. When you do these up, you have to make sure you do them tight enough to make sure they don't come loose. And then the last one here, it goes on the top of the panel, just here. And then we'll put those other side panels ones on as well. Just got to make sure they don't come loose. It's a bit hard to try and judge how tight you should do them. You know, you don't want them to come loose, and then also you don't want to strip them as well. So I've got 2 screws put on this side, on here, and then we can put the thing on the phone and see if it works. Hope for the best. Keep slipping out. Here we go. Fingers crossed. So home button is clicking. Check for that as well. Make sure that works. So that's refit this now. I have to make sure as well the battery hasn't plugged itself back in again, because sometimes you can lean on things and push things back in. So make sure it's still disconnected, because if you try and connect these up with the battery on, you're likely to blow something up, because getting the alignment on these things is not always easy. So get this one on. Okay, that's one flex in. So then we've got this side one here, we'll get this one in next. That went straight on, that's nice. Then we've got this one here. You have to be careful, once you get more and more flexes in, you have to lift the screen up, because it won't actually plug in properly. It won't actually line up and be nice if you have it sitting wrong. So next flex here, which is again not easy to get lined up. Unfortunately I'm kind of doing this sideways because of where the camera is, makes it a little bit awkward. Okay, that's it, that's that one on. hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I can't. And then we've got this flex here, which is the final one. So bend it down a bit, you might be able to get that one to sit nicer and hopefully pop in. See what I'm doing? There we go, that's in. Alright, so push in the middle of the flex. Alright, and the connectors push in the middle, don't push on the ends, because if the end isn't actually lined up, it could be halfway along the connector, you'll end up damaging something. Alright, so that's all those in there. Let's top the battery on and we'll see if it comes on. Will she work? We've got a screen, that's a good start. Now this is somebody else's phone, so I'm not sure what I can show you. Let me just move it out of the way for a second. Whilst it does its booting, I'm not quite sure what's going to come up. So, you know, booting. Still booting. It's a 6, so a little bit slow. There we go. Right, there we go. It's booted. Yep. So I'm happy with that. We'll shut it back down and pop the battery back out. Get the finger on underneath there somewhere. Maybe not. There we go. Right, battery back out. Always test it before you put the cover back on, because otherwise you can end up with all sorts of mess. So let's try and get this so I can see. Let's get the cover. So it's also got to sit on there. Now, once you get to these top screws, it can be a bit tricky to get the thing lined up. But anyway, we'll do our best. So, using the layout that we used before for the screws to get them in. Sorry about the lighting, it's a bit awkward here, and it's also really awkward because I'm trying to get my hand out of the way. Yeah, let's try that way. There we go. Left-handed. Awesome. If only it was actually left-handed, maybe it'd be easier. Right, try and get it lined up. Screw holes about there, so let's just tighten that up. Again, you have to be really careful about getting the screws in the right places, otherwise you could damage it. You've heard of long screw damage? Heard of that? Yeah, you don't want to go there. Thankfully I've never done it. I've all come across it, thankfully, like I said. But I'm sure it's a matter of luck. You know, one bit of inattention or one little mistake and you could easily come across it and make a mistake and damage the circuit board. So, very important to get these screws in the right places. So we're looking good, we're nearly done. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, or you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video, if you like this kind of content. I also have playlists at the end of this video which show other videos you might be interested in watching. Could be other Apple repairs, or it could be something else, you know. It could be reviews or anything, really. I've got a whole range, I've got hundreds of videos, over 760 videos. So you may be interested in watching those, and if it was also you may be interested in becoming a Patreon or something like that, where you help support the channel. So if you are interested in doing that and helping me to buy things, mailbag or repair videos, you know, to buy basic test gear to fix, then please use the links down in the description there to go to Patreon to sign up. If you also just want to support the channel but not financially, that's fine too. Just, you know, give us a thumbs up. That's supporting the channel. Having a chat down below in the comments also supports the channel. Sharing the video, if you know someone who might want to see this video on how to do this, share the video to them, because that also helps support the channel. All these little things, they all help. Okay, so there's that. So you've got to make sure when you're putting this together, you pop the top in first. Top is aligned. Oh, let's get a bit closer. Hold on. Too close there, eh? Hope you're not dizzy. So what you do to get these together, you put the top end first, get that aligned, and just work down the sides gently, try and keep it even. If you try and put too much pressure at one point, you might end up breaking the screen. So you just do it nice and gently, and then you can also push it face down and just make sure it's bedded down properly like that as well. Okay. Now what you better do now is get those screws in. Now this had the screws stuck under this tape here, so I'll put these in. These little pentalobe screws. Get the right screwdriver. They go in those holes there, which I didn't show you before because obviously the other screen was broken and they weren't fitted. Okay. Don't do it too tight. You just have to make sure they're secure. Otherwise you can break the tabs off inside or strip the screws or something like that. You don't want to go there. Right. and we are done. That should be all finished. So, thanks for watching. Catch you later, and I'll see you around.